In Vladivostok today, the grand halls of the Eastern Economic Forum set the stage for one of the most closely watched diplomatic encounters of the week. Russia's President Vladimir Putin welcomed Li Hongzhong, a senior figure in the Chinese Communist Party leadership, underscoring once again the tightening axis between Moscow and Beijing. The images may appear routine, handshakes, polite exchanges, careful smiles, but every detail carries weight. As the world watches their economies struggle against Western sanctions, both Russia and China are eager to showcase resilience, partnership, and shared strategic goals. For Putin, the Eastern Economic Forum is more than a regional gathering. It is his window to the Pacific, his chance to project that Russia is not isolated, but instead finding new lifelines to the east. His remarks were deliberate, underscoring both opportunity and defiance. Observers note the symbolism, Putin's words framed as an appeal to Asian partners, especially Beijing, to counterbalance Europe's economic walls. In Li's presence, the Russian leader emphasized cooperation in trade, energy and infrastructure development, fields where Chinese support has become indispensable. Li Hongzhong, seated with the solemnity that often defines high-level CCP envoys, listened intently. His mission in Vladivostok is clear: to reaffirm Beijing's commitment to its no-limits partnership with Russia while carefully avoiding any overt steps that could invite direct Western backlash. Putin leaned forward, his tone forceful. He spoke of shared values, of resisting Western dominance, of building a multipolar order where Eurasia becomes the beating heart of global commerce and security. When Li responded, his words echoed China's well-rehearsed diplomatic lines: respect for sovereignty, commitment to peaceful development, and a willingness to deepen practical cooperation. But beyond the rhetoric lies a pragmatic agenda. Beijing seeks secure energy supplies, agricultural exports, and logistical routes through Russia's Far East. Li's delivery was firm, designed for the cameras as much as for Putin. Analysts suggest his very presence in Vladivostok sends a message from Beijing. Despite global criticism of Moscow's actions in Ukraine, China will not abandon its northern partner. Putin, listening carefully, nodded in agreement. His body language signaled satisfaction. Each diplomatic gesture here plays to dual audiences: international watchers skeptical of Russia's global standing, and domestic supporters eager to see proof that Moscow still commands respect on the world stage. Beyond these carefully staged images, the context matters deeply. The Eastern Economic Forum, established in 2015, was designed to attract investment into Russia's Far East. This year, however, it has morphed into a platform for Moscow to demonstrate that despite sanctions, Asia, especially China, remains open for business. For Beijing, the calculus is more complex. China faces its own headwinds: a slowing economy, rising US pressure in the Pacific, and the delicate balancing act of supporting Russia without risking sanctions on Chinese firms. Li Hongzhong's trip illustrates how China sends political solidarity, even if it stops short of military commitment. The meeting also takes place against the backdrop of Western attempts to isolate Russia diplomatically. For Putin, every handshake with a senior Chinese official is a rebuttal to that isolation, a staged performance of international legitimacy. Behind closed doors, discussions likely focused on oil, gas, and rail connectivity. China remains Russia's largest energy buyer, and pipelines through Siberia have become lifelines to the Russian treasury. Li's role as a political envoy links these economic threads back to the Chinese Communist Party's strategic priorities. As the camera lingers on their exchange, what is unseen may matter most: the quiet calculations about how far this partnership can stretch without triggering consequences that neither Moscow nor Beijing are ready to face. The Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok, with its ceremonial images and diplomatic soundbites, is more than a regional summit. It is a stage for Russia and China to signal that together they intend to shape the rules of the 21st century. And as Putin and Li Hongzhong conclude their talks, one message rings clear: in a world fractured by sanctions and rivalries, Moscow and Beijing are determined to show that they still have each other.
Китая, и вы, и я одинаково, по-моему, в одно и то же время. Востока. Прежде всего, хотел бы попросить вас передать самые наилучшие пожелания с теми инициативами, которые были выдвинуты председателем за за такой теплый прием, за организацию нашей работы.
非常感谢你，在我和我的同事们就安排会见我感到非常荣幸。首先呢，你的问候和良好的祝愿，您。